This video I've been thinking about doing for a while, and because I'm moving and I'm putting stuff in storage again, I am going to document some of my childhood pictures, and these are my memories, and there is a story behind the story as to how I got involved and why I'm involved in today, but you know, I want to go over just some of the pictures that I do have, because I know I'm going to be looking back on this. And these photo albums, in the past, I've actually lost another one. So my mom actually prepared these for me. There she is there. This must have been like... I was born in 1980 in Portland, Oregon. And I'll save my life story for another time, but I'll briefly tell a little bit. But I grew up in Aurora, Oregon, 25 miles south of Portland, Oregon. Born in 1980. My mom was born in 60, so she was 20 when she had me. And I'm going to try not to go too fast. But... here's a baby picture here. So these are my childhood pictures. That's my grandmother. That is a good friend of mine to this day. That was close to my mother. I received a lot of guidance from him in my life. That's the first day of school, 1986. There's my grandmother and I. She took me to the Pendleton Roundup right around that time. So I think that's probably where that was taken. I have not been outside the United States other than Mexico when I was a little kid, but I did go to Disneyland with my mom, and that was fun. Remember, it snowed really hard that year. It was like 1987 or 1988. And that's my grandfather. I was closer to him than anybody. More pictures featuring him later. And I played Lumiere in Beauty and the Beast when I was 12 years old. Now that's something I wish I actually did get an opportunity to ride. I was a little young for that. That's called a Fat Cat. I think that's somewhere on the coast. And my mom is a ballerina. This is my father. My father who's from Afghanistan. This is his father's father. This is my grandfather. And he died during the Soviet occupation of Afghanistan. This is my grandmother when she was a nurse in Portland, Oregon, at Good Samaritan Hospital in the 1940s, I believe. And I believe that she met my grandfather just before World War II. It may have been after, I'm not exactly sure. Grandpa didn't like the city much. He liked being out in Canby, out in Aurora. Had horses, had his own carpet store. I believe that's my grandmother as well. A very hard worker. And it looks like that's great aunt on my grandfather's side, on my mom's side. Again, this is my mother's father, Bill Nagel. He was also a pilot. He was also a hunter. He was also, you know, he was a really, really interesting person. And that's my mom and her friends in the 80s. That is my uncle, both my uncles, that is my grandfather. Here are my grandparents again. And this was taken during one of their trips in Mexico. It looks like this was sometime during the 1970s. Could have been the 80s. My parents did divorce when I was born in 1980. And I kind of believe they were only brought together to bring me into the world. And we all know how that turned out. But there's my mother. And there's me. Oop! That is my father. I have not spoken to him for years. Oh, somebody looks upset there. Okay, I'm gonna scoot a little faster here. That was probably 1982. That's my Uncle Bruce. The 1980s. I did think quite a bit about, I was a big fan of Thriller when I was young, as you can tell. I insisted on having a red jacket. See, I wasn't always into conspiracies. My grandfather had a lot of rifles. Again, my friend, my Miyagi, almost literally. My mom and my cousin David. My 6th birthday party, I believe, or 7th, and that was my friend Otto. He lived. I only had one basically neighbor because we were on 40 acres. So, grew up literally in the country, and we moved into Portland in 1993 when I was 13. At one point, I didn't care about the skull and bones symbolism. I was a big fan of the show MacGyver. Definitely want to document that. That's at Mount Shasta. That at one point was my room. You could see the the Blazers poster right there. The alcohol ad. Ah, kids. That's me with my dog Wolf. That's me working on the script for the show. Got a head start. And making my own soundtrack, too. And that must be my mother tending the garden in the 70s. And even back then, my hair stood up in the back. Even that. That's at my dad's apartment right off 23rd in Clinton in Southeast Portland, where he was the weekend dad. So even though I grew up in the country, on the weekends I spent a lot of time in inner Southeast in the 80s, before it was cool, before everybody moved here. I was in the Boy Scouts too. Yeah, I did not like that 4-mile hike in. And 70s certainly inspired my father. There he is with his afro. That's probably the I think that kind of says it all. Okay. And some of my father's relatives. Picture of the house after it was remodeled, and my grandparents divorced in '92. Then they split the proceedings from the farm, and that's the house at the time of moving out of it. There's me again at Disneyland, and me and my Miyagi friend, and practicing my kicks at the age of 14. Ooh, at one point I actually was Dracula. That was 2005. That's from Outside the Box, but we're not covering that. You know what that looks like. Playing secret agent person way back when. And yeah, me and my second car. It's definitely really loving that. Wish I didn't ding it all up. And there's that picture again, 1st grade. Well, I hope you enjoyed my slideshow. Sorry if this was a little bit long, but these are some of my pictures featuring my childhood. And that'll be that.